I'm going to begin. I think Councilman Ritzert will be here shortly. Is that seem okay? All right, it is 5 o'clock and we're going to begin. This is the July 21st meeting of the Lewis Parks and Recreation Commission. Ray Fratella is not here tonight. Christine Vesci is on Zoom tonight.
Okay,
Yes.
before you start, I just want to apologize for the way I spoke out of order to you and to anybody else here that I offended. Through my own ignorance, I didn't understand how old business worked, and I didn't really want to cause you any more headaches because this is not, you don't have a job that people are knocking on the door to take. And so I do apologize. I kind of understand, but I'm slowly learning.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for your words and your intent. I very much appreciate it. And so we're having a fresh start tonight.
Good.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Are there any other announcements? Julia, do you have any announcements?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right, so we're going to begin with item B, the approval of the minutes. These are from the June 16th Parks and Rec meeting. Does anyone have any changes, corrections, additions? If not, do I have a motion to accept as written? Move to accept. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Opposed? The motion carries. Our next item, item C, is the Commissioner's Reports, update on monthly activity projects and volunteer hours. How about if we start, Anne, do you want to start tonight?
Well, I just had questions about things we talked about, and I just wanted to know if there was any follow-up on these. I don't have a project.
Okay.
I just would like to know if there's a follow-up.
Sure, and that'll be item D. That'll be next. That'll be item D, project updates. We'll cover all of the items on your list and more.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bill?
Stango and Stango Extended Libraries all looking really good. I think the biggest news is we're going to have our first concert tomorrow night. That's going to be outdoors. The last four have been at the high school, and our attendance drops off considerably there. So I think everybody's looking forward to it. Even the regulars that come to the concert, they're looking forward to being outside because it is. And tomorrow night's going to be a good night. So that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions? Christine, do you want to give your update?
I don't have anything to report or add to the Stango Park Concert Series report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
As for the city beaches, I have to say that I thought the beaches and the whole city were just great for July 4th. I thought everything looked beautiful. Everything was well attended. The weather was great. So I wanted to thank everybody for all of their efforts. Everywhere you looked, I thought everything just looked beautiful. The only issue that's been brought to my attention is the sign with information about the parking regulations that is perpendicular to Cape Heaven Lipton Drive at Johnny Walker Beach entrance. There's been some questions about, does this impede visibility when you're pulling out of Johnny Walker Beach? And I've been watching that. I know when it was first installed, I was kind of careful about it. My car is low and small. I have asked people with tall trucks to see what they think about it. I know sometimes the brush on the other side of it, as you're heading toward the ferry, can impede visibility of cars coming off the ferry. So that is something that we're watching to see if the position of it is where it should be. So I'll keep watching that. Strom, do you have anything you wanted to add? I know we saw you on television talking about jellyfish, and I know you've had an active couple of weeks here with both people and wildlife.
Yeah, no, the beach has been great. Besides the number of jellyfish, I mean, really, that's the biggest thing that's standing out. But we can't control that. So we'll continue to deal with that as it comes and enjoy the sand. And when we can get in the water, we'll enjoy that too. So,
And nobody needs to buy any vinegar because there's none left anywhere. All the
Yep.
vinegar supplies at all the grocery stores.
Is that right?
I think it's on every lifeguard chair in Lewis.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Fantastic. Marty?
So, the biggest thing that happened this past month is we have applied for another Teddy grant for planting in spring of 2026. Trees, it's Teddy, Trees for Every Delawarean Initiative. It's run by DENREC. We've applied for approximately $10,000 to plant about 59 trees in Stango Complex, in George H.P. Smith Park, a few in Great Marsh Park, and some in Canary Creek Buffer. So hopefully that'll come through. We should hear about that in early September, and we'll see what happens.
And that would be a springtime plan.
Spring 2026. Yep.
Any questions for Marty? Okay. Thank you, Barry.
No report, nothing happening. People are using the park. There hasn't been any action. We will do some trimming later in the summer off some of the trails and paths, especially the blacktop trails that go down towards University of Delaware, and some bush hog cutting of some of the grass, the high grass. That's all.
Any questions? Rodney?
Yes, Canal Front Park. I wanted to make sure people understand the path that runs parallel to the parking lot has been inundated after, well, we've had a lot of recent storms, dumps a lot of water, half an inch or more in a short period. All that water comes off the parking lot because the parking lot is even though it's gravel parking lot, it's not permeable. All that water comes out, it lays in that path, and so we get a lot of puddling there. That's not going to change. The path is not designed to be a major conduit of storm water. And so even though last year, I believe it was, we spent money excavating, putting a drainage pipe in so that it would drain out quicker, which it does. It's not going to solve that problem until the parking lot is redone and a storm drain system is introduced, and that has to be engineered. That was identified in one of the projects that I identified at the end of last year. So I've just got some comments about that from people. Isn't this working better? Well, it's just working as well as it can. Okay. And did you have a question, Tim?
Thank you. I thought do I recall correctly that you had mentioned at the last meeting?
Sorry. I apologize.
At the last meeting, I thought do I recall correctly that you had suggested regrading the path again so that there would be a higher, a more dome shape in the center of the path?
Yeah, and that kicks the water to the edges where it could be absorbed more quickly. But I've been out there multiple times. We've gotten so much water, even doing that, I don't think is really going to help the situation.
So we no longer expect maintenance to do that, correct? That's not part of the remedy now?
They could, but I don't think we're still going to get a major puddling and flooding of that path after a storm event.
Right. I've witnessed that as well.
Yeah,
Right.
and the path is not consistently, and you can't expect it. It's not, it has dips. It has
Yeah.
minor changes in elevation along the length of it, and then you get these big puddles that grow.
Right. And there's
we
also hardscape against the
can-
edge
and the
of path
hardscape,
that
yeah.
is
The-
contributing to the problem.
which-
right?
which actually is a benefit. Otherwise, we'd be getting more mulch mulching in, which would clog it up and it would drain even less effectively. So I think the best we can do is try and find the money and proceed to address the larger problem, which is drainage off the parking lot itself.
One thing about it, I think the average rainfall here in July is about 4.5 inches and we've had about 7. So it took care of the drought, which is good. But the bad thing is we've had a lot of rain.
Yeah,
So-
there's good side and bad side to all that. So, but I just want people to be aware that it's not broken. It's just that it was never intended to handle that much water coming off a parking lot of that size. So,
Well, I think anybody whose expectation is that the Canal Front Park is going to be dry in 100% of the places, 100% of the time, has an unrealistic expectation
yeah,
and certainly doesn't remember what it looked like before it was the Canal Front Park. So, I mean, I think there's some of that as well.
thank you for that. That's true.
And
Not only that, if you mound that stone up, but just normal foot traffic dissipates it in no time,
Correct.
you know?
Right,
So it's no win situation there.
Yeah,
right,
sometimes it's going to be a little wet some places.
right. And of course, it's
That's
also
okay.
irrigated, so that's the constant source of.
yeah. And last year we had broken irrigation in there, and that's what caused it to be flooding so frequently, even when there wasn't a rain.
Uh-huh,
And that's been corrected.
right.
So this is a result of some intense rainfall events.
Rodney, let me ask you a question about the drainage in that area. As you walk to, not on the path that is parallel to the parking lot, but the one that's perpendicular running, if you will, parallel to the tennis courts. And
Yeah,
basketball courts,
yeah.
There is a drain there that is quite deep, actually. It's set quite deep. Have you, I know I reported before that that drain was filled with mulch. It was covered over. What is the status of that drain right now? Do you know?
As far as I know, the drain is functioning. It was cleaned out when we did the subsurface drainage improvements to the path last year. We put a perforated drain line along the length of that path,
Right.
and we ran it into that catch basin. So it drains, so anything that's coming through the pavement is actually draining into that catch basin. The last time I looked at the catch basin, yeah, it's a hole in the ground with mulch around it, but it was functioning
Okay,
as
thank
far as
you.
I could tell. The only other thing I had was, I guess I'd been in the drain business today. The drain at the basin that's been cleared and, you know, where the concrete pad was earlier this year.
We're going to be working with GMB
Okay,
to have quotes to get it regraded and fixed.
regraded. Are you going to sod it?
Most likely, yes, but I'm going to
Okay.
refer to GMB and have them put in their recommendation.
Because the there's quite a bit of organic matter in that space and in the soil, leftover mulch. And when you get a lot of rain or even a tide comes in, it lifts that up, it runs it towards the drain and clogs the drain. And today, a portion of the drain grate was clogged by mulch, which was just washing in there. So I think the sooner we can get it regraded, get that mulch out of there and do something else, the better. It should work fine.
So you're no longer going to keep the grasses, the tall grasses in that area that had been there?
I wouldn't because it's irrigated, so it gets the salt water that you get in there from a high tide, it gets irrigated regularly, and so it kind of grows. And I've not noticed that there's a problem growing grass down there, so I would go ahead and sod the whole darn thing right up to the drain. And it'll keep it clean. It'll keep whatever's going into that drain clean also. That's my recommendation. They might want to do something else, but
Yeah, we'll have them take a look.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mark?
Alrighty, had the Juneteenth celebration on June 28th. Very nice weather this year compared to last year. It was about 20 degrees cooler. even though it was 90. And there were about 70 vendors there, and also the attendance was at least 500 roughly. And the event ran very, very smoothly. And one thing I'd like to do, and I know talking with Trina about this, Julie and Strom were there all day, and their help was tremendously appreciated.
thanks.
So thank you, because I know you guys get thanked all the time for doing stuff.
Thanks, Mark.
Sure. Also, just as far as George H.P. Smith Park is concerned, would like to say that the pollinator garden right now looks the best that I can remember in years. So, if you're in the area and stop by, it looks very, very nice. Looking to the future, on August 5th, we have Lewis Night Out from 5 to 8 p.m. and that's sponsored by the Lewis Police Department. That's a very popular event. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. And that's all I have.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions? Wonderful. Thank you very much for all that you do. The next item on the agenda are project updates, and Anne submitted a list of questions to follow up. And so we use this as a model to have some answers. I have answers for most of them. I think Julia, I'll rely on your help for
Sure.
a couple of these. So I just wanted to run through. Yes,
I just want to say something about the playground
okay,
at Canal Front Park.
okay.
I really like the benches, and I think people appreciate the way that benches have been added
Mhm.
and sort of make the playground bigger. It's very nicely done.
And very popular.
Yeah.
Every time I've been by, the
Yeah.
playground is in use.
Yes.
So, which is,
But those benches were moved. And I think that's a very good idea, and I wanted to point that out.
excellent.
And if you wouldn't mind, anytime that you're down there, if you see them, make sure that the benches are not on the play surface. We had an issue with that. So if you see them on the play surface, which they should not be, just give me a call.
Okay.
Thank you.
You don't want me to?
No. It's a
No.
3-person job.
Thank you. All right, so the project updates, number one was the public art benches. So it's my understanding that the Public Art Committee was not selected for the AARP grant, so the project has been tabled. Hopefully, in the future, that can pick up again.
Okay, but we talked about, I think that Swanndale could have more benches. Is this something that could be considered in the future?
For Swanndale Park,
Yes,
or
it doesn't need to be the benches that were presented by the art committee, could be other benches.
I
Just
think-
asking the question.
I think when commissioners see the need for a bench, they put that in the budget, or.
I had
let me know.
asked, I had someone who wanted to do a commemorative bench at Zwannendale, and Ray had said that at the time, and this was only maybe a month or two ago, he had said at this time, there is no place to put it and he doesn't see a need at Zwannendale right now. So, and we can get Ray,
Well, he's the commissioner, so.
right.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. So I think any of the commissioners who see the need, or if there's someone from the public who wants to place one, I think we can certainly see what we can do. Beaches could always use one if they would want to put it there. We could use them. Just saying. Okay. Number two, we talked about trash bins and recycling at the beach. And mayor and council have made a decision that the city will do a pilot project for recycling at Johnny Walker Beach. The bins will be available for use in a couple of weeks. They'll be monitored to see how successful it is, recognizing that one misplaced item taints the whole can. So hopefully people will follow directions and see. Currently, this will start at Johnny Walker Beach. If this is successful, it'll be extended to Savannah Beach. And there are blue trash barrels at all the crossovers, and they're picked up daily. And so we should thank our maintenance department for doing that hard work in the heat.
So will these recycle bins be the artful,
Mm-mm.
artistic recycle bins or
No,
regular?
they will be
Regular.
standard bins that will be marked, and there will be directions on them, as I understand, about what can go in
Yep.
this bin.
They're good.
Sorry, can you come up to the microphone, please?
I just.
And if you could give your name and address.
Yeah.
State your name.
With City Hall.
State
because you're not
state your name,
anywhere
please.
else.
Representing the city, Janet Reeves, Deputy City Manager. I am also a city resident on Ocean View Boulevard. Okay, I'm not a rule breaker, but I tried to do it tonight and I got called out. What we ordered are kind of standard recycle bins. They have a smaller opening in them. They do not have a lid that lifts, so it's only going to take cans and bottles. So we're hoping that that will reduce the contamination. And if it does, we'll bring them over to Savannah.
Are they the same ones that you have on Second Street, that same style?
No, those are, Dumore is the maker and they're metal. These are larger so that they can have a larger capacity given the location. So they should be in a couple of weeks.
Excellent.
Can I ask a follow-up? I consider it a follow-up. The issue of having a place to refill water bottles on the beaches, to me, we should encourage people to. have it.
So
tried,
I can give you an update on that.
Okay.
And we are going to post it on the website. They've all been installed now. We have installed water bottle filling stations at Johnny Walker Beach, Savannah Beach, 1812 Park. There was already one in Canal Front Park. We've done the Trailhead, Zwannendale Park, and City Hall,
Mary Vessels.
and Mary Vessels.
Excellent, thank you.
Well,
So-
and that's a huge expense because we were trying with grants for years and we couldn't get it to go.
So we
So this is
used ARPA
great.
funding for that. So, so they've all been completed. I think the last two were put in last week. So we will have those locations posted on the website.
Excellent, thank you.
It's a great
Yeah.
service for the
Oh.
public. Thank you.
Can I go now?
Well, and I have your phone, just so I don't forget, I have your phone. Well, it's been buzzing, so a little bit. Yes.
Kay, you mentioned monitoring. Who's going to monitor and what days? Because I mean, I think maybe during weekdays, there's less of a problem than on weekends.
I think I meant it just when they're emptied. Not by people watching who puts things in it, but by when they're emptied to see what, if there's, just like at your house. When the cans are emptied, if you have put something in that is not appropriate, you will get a new on your can. And I think this will be the same. If it's not recyclable, but it's become trash, then
Okay.
I think that will be noted so that the tipping fees can be understood for the city budget. Yes, sir.
No, nothing. I have nothing to say.
Okay. Thank you. So hopefully that works out. The next item is the Native Roots Farm Foundation. We have no update for that. So as of this meeting. The next one is number 4 is
Sorry, was there a contact person? Was somebody in contact with them individually? I mean, somebody in
No.
the group or?
N-
So it's up to them to come
It's-
back.
Well, it's up to us to need them. I think it's up to us to reach out when we see an appropriate connection to make with what that group has to offer so that we can work together.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They-
I understood that they'd found, so they want to create a farm. Right? They have a plan for a farm. And then they were looking for some ground. And I think they, from what I understood, but maybe I'm wrong.
Last I spoke to Courtney, she had another iron in the fire. that she was working towards. And that was several months ago, I believe.
You mean another farm? or-
Another property, correct. So
And-
she was already working with somebody, but we can open lines of communication anytime if we need them for the future. But right now she was going in a different direction.
And that other property would be outside the city limits.
Right. I don't know where the other
I
property
understand.
was. Yeah.
But it would not be.
No, it was not ours.
It would not affect our park system.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, that answers.
That's an update. Yeah.
If you're just talking about follow-up, I sent her some questions about trees that indigenous peoples used and she answered me, so. Communication is open. Anytime you have a question, she's very, very
Oh, I'm sure.
responsive.
Number 4, beach equipment being stored in the dunes. The dunes are a DNREC issue. City staff can't enforce this, but the city is aware of the encroachment and is doing its best to address this. It's a perennial problem, and so the city's doing what it can. Questions? Okay. Let's see, concerning the 4th Street Preserve, how is this project to be financed? Almost as soon as you had sent in your questions, and I got, as probably most of us did, an email from the 4th Street Preserve team talking about the vision, the cost, and how funds would be raised for this. So this would not be a city cost, this would be a fundraising effort. And it's quite a large one. It's, I think, estimated cost of restoration is $825,000 over several years. So that is in the works. If you want to see this done, we all need to do what we can to make it happen. So that is out there. That is with Greater Lewis Foundation. So that who is the entity who is doing this massive change at that property.
I just feel this is such a, for me, it's not a park.
And it's not.
It's not. It's a preserve.
It's a preserve.
It's a preserve.
Yeah.
May I add something to the report?
Certainly.
In the past month, the Greater Lewis Foundation has been working with the state forestry to write a conservation easement for that 30-acre property. And it's finished and was reviewed by the sellers, the Rollins family, and they have accepted it. And it goes to city council for city council to after reviewing it, to accept it also. And there is a public presentation on Monday, this coming Monday. I believe it's here at 5:30. The public invited to come and ask questions and learn about that. The conservation easement was a requirement by the sellers and certainly the state forestry that be in place and approved before the sale of the land. And it protects the land from being developed in any way, and is fairly strict in what can be done there. So there's no parking lots, there's no buildings, there's no development of any kind like that going to go there.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So in years past, when I was on planning commission, we had a definition of open space, and we were always aiming for a definition of permanent open space. And that ran into some headwinds occasionally. And does the conservation easement make it permanent open space?
It is in perpetuity. The easement is.
So do we need to
And-
update our
and-
zoning
Pardon
to
me?
include that? Do we need to update our zoning to include that as a, okay.
No, not that I'm aware of. I don't think it has anything to do with the zoning. It just means that the city will own the property and they are the grantor, and the grantee is the state forestry department.
Mhm.
They will hold the easement, and so they keep an eye on and monitor it, and they keep an eye on what's going on there on regular basis to make sure that the easement is followed.
And once it's purchased, will it need to be rezoned?
Will it need to be,
Rezoned?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
The
anything
concept
about it.
actually, I don't.
Actually, I think I can answer that question. It's a good question, and I think my answer is correct. But it's subject to being
Right.
corrected. I believe that land is currently zoned residential R2,
Right.
and it would have to be rezoned to open space. And I believe that the city is going to be, the council will be prepared to do that.
Perhaps permanent open space?
We
As a
have
zone.
open space, and then now the idea is that community open space would be that open space which exists in communities, subdivisions, when they have open space in their community, the HOA owns it. That would be called community open space. It's understood to be private. It's not open to the public. This is going to be open space that's under the control, the domain of the city. So I think that's the correct classification for it.
Interesting.
Open space. But
Interesting.
as Rodney described, per the terms of the purchase agreement, which have now, many of those have been rolled into this conservation easement, there will be no development on the property with respect to improvements such as a parking lot, restrooms, anything like that. That's forbidden.
Right. So it's sort of like a deed restriction. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was wondering about that when I was hearing about the conservation
question.
easement, because I remember when the
We
library,
don't recognize conservation easement in our zoning district, in our zoning language.
right, it's more like a deed restriction kind of thing rather than a zone, but
But the
Anyway.
purpose of the property would be
Easement and zone.
properly categorized as open space.
But
Easement and zone.
interesting.
yeah,
Thank you. It's helpful.
thank you.
Okay, I had one more on my list, actually, number 6 is the Lewis Junction Railroad and Bridge Association project update. Julia, can you give that?
Well, Janet can.
See, our friends from LJRBA are here, but these are staff reports, staff updates. So Janet Reeves, Deputy City Manager, Ocean View Boulevard. So there was an article in the Cape Gazette several weeks ago that caught my eye, and it had given some information that the city was not aware of about the next step in this project. So the city manager and I had a meeting with several representatives from LJRBA to get an update on where the project stands. So the final piece of their exhibit is a steam engine, which they have acquired and will be bringing into the city somewhere around September or so. We don't have a definitive date yet. It will come in 3 pieces. It will be dismantled where it currently is, will be brought down on at least 2 flatbed trucks. They will come into the park. There will be a crane to lift these pieces off of the trucks and onto the track. It will be reassembled on the track. And then it will be encapsulated in a very large tent, climate controlled, and the final painting will be done in the park under this encapsulated climate controlled tent. I don't think there were any discussions prior that any assembly would be done in the park, which was why the article caught my attention. We're waiting on dimensions of the tent. And it will probably be early next year that the project would be completed. So that's my update.
Thank you.
Tim, Councilperson Ritzer?
No, there's going to be a follow-up report, I believe, from the group, correct?
Not tonight. No,
No.
these are just staff updates
Sure.
on projects. Yep.
So, yes, I do have a question. The tenning will take place immediately, shortly after it's been reassembled,
Mhm.
and it will be in place for, are you suggesting
Several months.
several months? And, have. Wow.
Those were my thoughts too.
Yeah, can I assume that the proper security around this tenant area is part of,
That would be the responsibility of LJRBA.
and that's been addressed in conversations, discussions,
Mhm.
right? And, is there any concern that we should have about the, the chemicals that are used in prepping the surfaces for paint and then painting in the public space? Is there?
My understanding is that this structure that will enclose the train piece is fully encapsulated, that, you know, they would contain their chemicals as best they can. I've expressed my concern about having this work done in the park. But
And the tent would be ventilated, I assume, is that correct? Yeah.
it
And-
would be structurally and environmentally by OSHA standards,
Those
I would imagine, yes.
Is
And-
this tenting similar to when a house is tented for a termite treatment? It's not
Yeah.
something that's done here, but I've seen it done in
Different.
Key West.
Yeah, I can't speak to that.
No,
I
that
would
gets off
think
the
so.
oxygen.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
Right,
Um,
so in effect, they'll be building a frame, tenting with this carcass.
It will-
Underneath it,
Mhm.
correct? And then prepping and spraying there. Yeah.
So I presumably they'll need electricity, maybe a lot of it.
Is
How's
this-
that gonna be provided?
That was discussed. It would, whether it's generator,
Hopefully not an extension cord across from the.
No.
rec center.
No.
Are we, go ahead, Leah.
But
I was just wondering, is this in the park?
Yeah,
yeah, it's right there.
it's right on the other side
Right.
of the
No, I-
parking
I
lot.
know, but this is part of the park.
Yes,
Correct.
Okay.
yes.
And the procedure, I imagine, when somebody wants to put something in a park, you have to go to the council.
This is a longstanding project that's been going on for several years, and it has received approval from mayor and city council. Yes.
Right, but maybe I didn't get it, but at the beginning you said that you read in Cape Gazette about something that you.
Just
didn't-
this piece of the installation
which is
and the
quite-
details of
big
it
piece.
was included in an article in the Cape Gazette before the city was aware of the specifications of how this was going to be
I see.
assembled and painted here in the park.
right.
Right, so if I want to put a bench in a park, I have to normally, talk to somebody. at
Right.
Parks and Recs, talk to somebody.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's all.
No, actually, you've led me to the question I'm gonna ask, and that is, and this, I'm aware of who's in the audience here. I don't know who's online, but this is a public meeting and this is what we do in public. This is city business. I am concerned about the fact that we are doing what I would even call an industrial activity inside a public park. And I think this is a very unusual ask of any group of the city to allow this. And is there not the other cars that have been brought in here have come in fully painted and they've done, I'll call it decaling or the stenciling, with the, but that's minor compared to what you've described here. Is that not possible?
The city manager and I share your concerns, and we shared those concerns with LJRBA during our meeting on the 10th of July. I've not had an opportunity to review the agreement between LJRBA and the city as to working in the park. But I share your concerns, and so does the city manager. And I'm quite certain that Commissioner Beshy, who could not be here tonight, has the same concerns.
Yes, I do.
Oh, there she is.
I don't know if you can hear me or
Yeah.
not, but I am listening and I do have concerns about our parks becoming construction sites. Even if it's temporary, it is something that hasn't, as far as I know, has ever been requested before. That's my statement and concern. Secondly, my question would be, why could it not be painted in a different location as were the other two cars in the park? Was that brought up at all?
Yes, it was. We had that discussion, and it has to be transported in 3 pieces. So to paint it pre-move to the park, they'd probably have to be doing some touch-ups.
So it's a question of logistics. But it could be, logistically, it could be done elsewhere and then brought into the park, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And touching up is not the same
As
painting.
painting the pole.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so are you and the city manager expecting additional meetings with the railroad people to be able to?
We will
to
be in
this
communication regularly.
proposal? Okay.
Yes.
But this is still in the proposal stage. We're not in. this is
Well,
not-
we're waiting for information on the size of the structure, the tent that's going to encapsulate it. The city has planted several trees in the area. We want to make certain that those don't get damaged. We've already had trees removed for this project from the beginning, and those trees have been replaced as per the agreement. So that's our next step, is we're waiting to see the stake out of where the tent is going to be going.
Have they shared with you the environmental impact concerns?
No.
And like, are they chipping paint? Is there
No.
like paint on the thing? And
Right.
No.
that would be something
All right.
I would.
So, one last question. Can we expect a additional briefing maybe at the next meeting? Is that
Mhm.
reasonable?
I think what we're doing is, because there are so many projects going, you're going to see a regular agenda item with project updates. And as we have them, we'll include the projects like we did today.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Helpful and informative.
Yeah.
Next item on our agenda is old business. Continued discussion and possible action regarding Art in Bloom placing garden poles in Lewis and Bloom Gardens within city parks. And I want to start off talking about this issue by talking about those of us at the table. We received an email about recusal. Recusing from discussion and recusing from vote. And I want to make sure that, are there any questions about this topic? We're all going to be receiving more training on this so that we are sure that we are following the rules in the city.
Right.
Any questions on this? Is anyone going to be recusing themselves from this issue?
Okay, Chairperson, would you please read the issue again? The agenda item, would you please read it
The
again?
agenda item is continued discussion and possible action regarding Art in Bloom placing garden poles in Lewis and Bloom Gardens within city parks.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Certainly. If there's not going to be any recusal, I would ask for a motion to table. And I am going to suggest, not as part of the motion, that those with questions, those with associations with either of the two groups, ask for a confidential opinion from the Board of Ethics before we vote. I think this is necessary, and it's a necessary process for all items that come before us for review and consideration. Do I have a motion to table? If I don't, then I'm going to use the chair's prerogative.
I'll make a move to table this.
Okay, so we have a motion to table. Do we have a second? If
I
not,
second.
okay, you'll second. Is there any discussion?
Why are you tabling it? I didn't understand that.
Because I want members of the commission who have associations with Art and Bloom and Lewis and Bloom to request a confidential opinion of the Board of Ethics about their voting on this issue. I want to make sure, and this is the same with all issues, I want to make sure that everyone who is involved in the discussion and voting, it's appropriate for them to be doing so. So there's no question about our vote.
So does that mean every time we have something like this, we're gonna check with the Board of Ethics?
If you feel you need
So
to.
you're assuming the people on this, in this group that have a conflict and that are not?
Yes. I
Well,
do.
I'm not sure you can assume that.
I think this may be directed at me, because I'm in Lewis and Bloom. The request was to put these, poles in two locations, the Children's Learning Garden and the Pollinator Garden at Stango Park. I cannot vote, I will not vote on this if you vote on it today. I do have some stipulations if this goes through, and one is they work with the patrons that take care of these locations and make sure they're on board for it.
But that's really voting in that you are saying that these would be the conditions for the vote. And there are three people that I understand have a connection. And I would value a confidential opinion from the Board of Ethics. I need to make sure that it's right, because otherwise I'm allowing a vote that shouldn't happen. And that is not right for the city. It's not right for this commission. And this is a constant question with especially the gatekeeping commissions, but it's no different for this commission. Our job is to make sure that we're putting the city first. And it can be very difficult because we're all members of this community. We're all involved in lots of different things. And sometimes all it takes is a phone call from someone saying, hey, listen, I'd like to do X. How can you help me with that? I was like, well, now I can't vote on it because you called me and asked me about it. So now I have to recuse. So when that kind of thing happens, I recuse. So you have to understand what our obligation is. And lots of times we're in helpful mode. You're trying to help somebody. You see that somebody's trying to get a project done and you want to give advice and everything. And then you realize, wait a minute, this has an effect. So I need to now remove myself from further discussion. I probably do it more than anybody in the city.
I have a question for Bill. Bill, I didn't understand. You said you said I wouldn't vote. Did I understand that right?
I said I could sustain from voting on this.
Isn't that a form of recusal?
It is, but then he was stating that he had conditions. And so that's voting, because you're saying, I would do this with that.
Well, these are simple conditions. I mean, one is
But-
make sure they're plumb, and the other is keep the bird poop off them, you know?
Oh, but there's still, I mean, all of I realize that this might seem like the wrong thing to go to the wall with, but it's not. It's, I think it's kind of the perfect thing because it's sort of, we're seeing it in lots of different ways, just sort of, with the train group and, you know, we're trying to communicate within the different groups that have different uses and ideas for the parks. And nobody wants to squelch somebody's idea, but we have to stick to the rules. And as the interim chairman here, I have to have us stick to the rules. So this is the spot that I'm in and that I would ask anyone, like say, last month we were talking about the preserve. I had a question about my ability to talk about it and I made sure that it was appropriate. I talked about it. Only one other person asked me about it. And to my mind, anyone who had donated money to it, well, I've sort of given my opinion out.
Right.
Is it acceptable for me to do this? I checked with the legal department.
Right.
Because I wanted to make sure that if I needed to remove myself, I did that. Because I don't want to do anything that taints a project farther down the line.
And what was the response?
Response was it would be acceptable for me to do. But I
May I
used to
speak?
ask.
Excuse me, Rodney. You go first and then I'll speak.
Well, I'm just curious what you expect to get from the legal department, a list of names or
No.
what?
No, you mean when I asked about what no.
No. If you're saying if there are people here who you think might have a perceived conflict of interest, now that's what you're talking about.
It is. And I asked
So
them.
how do
to
you,
that.
I mean, if you ask people, are you involved or you think you should recuse yourself, people would come forward, but are you just asking the legal department to further clarify the memo that we got?
No, I would ask that commission members make a decision, put their thoughts together, contact Janet Reeves as deputy city manager and send those to the Board of Ethics for their opinion. Because it could be I'm totally wrong. It could be I'm totally right. But whatever it is, we need to know so that whatever vote we take, no matter what the topic is, we know that everybody who is voting is following the city's rules.
So take it to the, I don't know if it's extreme, but we're all members of various things. We all do things with various organizations, the community gardens, the dog park, the farmers market, the various other that have some relationship to the parks. And I feel comfortable because way back when I first started with Parks and Rec, I asked City Hall about it and I was clearance. So I don't have a letter from a lawyer, but I feel comfortable with the advice I got from City Hall at the time. So
Yeah, so are you finished? I'm sorry. Am I interrupting you?
yeah, I know I'm good.
I'm sorry. I'd like to backtrack. For example, could Bill be part of the discussion before we
No.
vote?
It was part of the discussion last time.
But could he be part, if we spoke about it now, could he be part of the
No.
discussion
May I speak to that, please?
and simply voice, what were you saying, your conditions that you wanted the polls to be here? Is that legal or not legal?
At this point, I think no. I think we have to wait. Excuse me, I'm talking to this.
Sure, please, go ahead.
No, we need to wait to find out about ability to vote and discuss and vote.
Okay,
because
because I
our
think there's a
recuse-
difference between vote and discuss.
Well, there certainly is, because when you recuse, you leave the room. That's in our bylaws.
So you're not allowed to participate?
No.
No.
And because the thought is, and as it was explained to me, and as I have had confirmed, from apparently someone who has a mobile face, the thought is that I would sit and steer the conversation by making faces or doing this.
Right.
And I have had that confirmed twice at the planning commission level when the applicant came in and said, "Who are you?" And I said who I was. And they said, "Well, I hope you're not going to," And I said, I'm recusing and I will be leaving the room.
Right.
When Mr. Gerald Daisy came before this body to talk about the sign at Johnny Walker Beach, Miss Trina, who was then on this commission,
Right.
and I left
Right.
because that was appropriate. I mean, we just left. And I mean, I know it seems dramatic, but as I've had confirmed, it's what you really have to do in order to fully recuse. So
Correct.
that people feel comfortable in saying whatever it is they have to say.
Correct. And this is what I'd like to speak to right now. As far as the recusal practice, after the chair introduces the subject matter by reading aloud what's on the agenda, the person or people who need to recuse need to get up at that point in time and leave the room, not sit in the back and participate and not be part of the discussion up to a motion. They have to recuse and leave the space, the meeting space.
Mhm. It-
So,
it-
and what you've described, how you and Trina handled it is the recommended
Method.
process.
Yes, and I always tell the chairman and city hall beforehand,
Right.
so it's not a surprise. Also, in case there are others, so
Sure.
that there is a quorum still voting.
Right.
If there are several of us who have to leave for any particular reason, because I don't know what other people's situation is.
Sure.
So,
And of course, you also would be making arrangements prior to getting up and walking out. You would have made arrangements with your assistant chair, secretary, some officer to take over the meeting.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. Like at this point,
Right.
if I had to recuse myself now, I would turn it over to Marty and I would leave.
Right.
If it's in the middle of the, I always try and put it at the end of the agenda so that you can go home. At planning commission, I spent plenty of time in the museum,
Right.
sitting and waiting to
I
be told I
understand.
could come back. But I had to leave temporarily and
Correct.
that's,
And that is the recommended way of doing it. You
Right.
actually leave the meeting room space.
yes.
Right.
Yes. And we will be having training on this. I think sometimes, I mean, we've all been at parties when you realize, or a quorum, because we're all friends, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, one of us has to go, or you're at a dinner party and someone says, what is up with that development? And you have to say, I need you to change the subject. I can't talk about that. So, we need to remember these things.
Yeah.
So, any other questions?
You have a motion, it's been a second,
Mhm.
you've had discussion, are you gonna put it to vote, or is there a consensus? How are you gonna
Is
proceed?
there a consensus? Pardon me?
There hasn't been a recusal though.
There's a motion to table this.
That's correct.
That's all there is.
Right, and it was second. as
And it
well.
was seconded. We've had our discussion.
So I'm asking, are you gonna call for a vote, or?
Once the discussion is done, if everybody is done,
I would vote to table it for another reason,
okay.
which I'll state, I guess. First of all, I guess this is a public art project. And my question is, why has it not been presented to the Public Art Committee? Because I understand that the Public Art Committee is responsible for placing art in public spaces, which are parks. And so I would have thought that it would come to public art first and then Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec places benches and playgrounds and trees. They don't, in general, place public art because public art placement is the charge of the Public Art Committee, as I understand it.
And I can't answer your question. I have to say it makes sense to me. One thing, if we were to vote and whenever we do vote on this, I would ask for a roll call vote where people say why, yes, why, no, so that the Public Art Committee knows not just yes or no, yay, nay, but to say why I think this is a good idea, why I don't think this is a good idea, because that's helpful for people who are voting farther down the line to have some specifics from us as far as what they should do.
Well, and essentially the public art committee could fine tune the concept so that when it comes to rec and parks, it's ready to go and it's just a matter of, hey, here's where we want to place it. Public art has vetted it and, you know,
Fine tuned or whatever.
fine tuned it or
Mhm.
whatever, so.
Okay. All right, well, yes, sir.
I used to serve ex officio to Public Arts Committee. And I'm sorry, I'm not better prepared to discuss this by having reviewed minutes or my notes from that meeting, but I believe there's a representative from Art and Bloom in the audience. And if there is any doubt in your mind, you need clarity about the possible involvement of public art, and if they've been involved in the review or discussion of this, you're not interested in that? Is that?
No, they have not. I'm on the public art committee.
Oh, I know you are, but I'm also aware, and I'm not calling you out, but I'm also aware that there were several meetings that you weren't able to attend. And it's possible that this was taken up during one of those meetings. So,
It was not, as far as, I mean, we could ask for clarification.
that's all.
Well, at this point, I just want, I want to stick to the subject at hand, which
Okay.
is,
And the subject at hand is the business of
Call the
recusal.
motion.
Okay.
Cool.
okay, all right. So we have a motion and a second, and we've had discussion. All in favor
Of tabling,
of tabling this until we have clarity?
Aye.
aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
I abstain.
Abstain? So we have, the motion carries. We'll table this. And, we'll move forward. We will all have training on all of the fine aspects of all of this. And I think we'll all benefit from it. And I thank you. Let me find my agenda. Okay. Next item on the agenda is new business, of which we have none. Is there any public comment? Yes. And please give your name and address for the minutes.
Zed Zigmond, Caleb at 616 Kings Highway, and I'm co-chair of Lewis and Bloom and Art and Bloom. A number of years ago, there was a discussion about, in terms of Barry's comments, what is art? And is something small garden art? Or is it art that needs to be passed by various committees? We were told that if it's garden art, it does not need to go to the Public Art Committee. And that's what we were told, okay? So we consider these garden story poles garden art, temporary art also. And it's extremely confusing in this town to try and figure out what to do and where to go with respect to art. It always has been. We go to the Public Art Committee first, and they might say, oh, you have to go to Parks and Rec because it's going to be in a park. And we go to the Parks and Rec first, and you're bringing up the idea that we should go to the Public Art Committee. And when we were told previous that that's not necessary. Even if we go to the Public Art Committee, then we have to go to council to get something passed. And it's extremely odd to me that the Public Art Committee can just come to this body and want something in a park and it gets passed in 30 minutes. And we've been waiting 90 days for this to happen. And now we're going to wait at least another 30, if not longer, for the Ethics Commission to meet. And I don't know if they meet monthly or they meet quarterly or when do they meet. So this could be months and months and months. And all I look at is, from a personal standpoint, if I lived in Milton, there's a Milton Arts Committee and they go to council with a proposal, council passes it and it's in the park the next month. And why doesn't that happen here? What are you so afraid of about art in this town? I don't get it. It's been a fight for 9 years. From the very first in the wind spinners that are across the library here, when we fought council for an hour and a half meeting at council and tried to get that passed, and it didn't. It's been a number of occasions where, as a committee, we've said, let's not deal with the city. Let's just put things on private property or state property, and that's easier to deal with. Currently, we have these garden story poles being okayed and wanted to be placed in 3 private locations in the town already. They can't wait for it to go in. And we're going to start doing it. And you're going to start seeing these garden story poles in a number of locations in this town on private property. And I don't understand. I just don't get it here. Okay? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Zygmunski.
Yeah.
Just let him.
No, I wanted to explain why I had abstained. Can I do that or not?
No, we're just here to
No.
listen to, here to listen. I beg your pardon? I'm sorry. Oh, yes, and then there's someone else as well.
Sue Sandmeyer, co-chair of Art and Bloom and member of Lewis and Bloom, Beulah Boulevard in Milton. You know, when we came to you 3 months ago, we wanted to have a discussion with you about this art in the parks. We didn't ask for a vote. And you said that you wanted some time to think about it. And so we returned today to have a conversation about what is garden art versus what we think PAC should approve. And so one of the things that I wanted to say was that I think that garden art has a different purpose and a different function than a sculpture has or a mural has. And I can understand that PAC would want to review something that is something that's formal or it's conceptual or it has interpretive weight. But the garden poles are like whimsical, fun things that enhance the garden. I don't think they warrant expert review. And they're very small and they have low impact enhancements. And if we were to put 3 poles in one garden, the total space it would take up would be about 18 inches by 18 inches. We have consulted with many people in Lewis about this. One of them is an engineer about the proper installation for them. We met with the Lewis Studio Tour artists to talk about what they would contribute, what they could contribute. We met with Mike DiPaolo as a historian and also with the Delaware Community Foundation. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get this person right, but it's the Historic Preservation Commission.
HPAR.
HPAR. We collaborated with them. So we're trying to be collaborative here and not cause any problems. But I think it's important that at some point we have a discussion about what is garden art and what is aesthetic or interpretive engagement types of art. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, certainly.
Thank you. Thierry Foray, 19 Harborview Road, sorry. I've prepared some remarks, but first I want to address the what I consider basically an incident which has just occurred. First, I want to remind everybody, including members of the City Council, that Lewis in Bloom is an extremely important organization for the city. There was a back of the envelope evaluation that was done at some point of the value that is contributed by Lewis in Bloom to the city. If we counted the value of the labor, the value of the plants that are being donated by Lewis in Bloom in the city, we came to something in the order of magnitude of $600,000 a year, which is an enormous amount of money. And I think every committee in the city and the city council, and I count in every committee the planning commission, which I am a member, even though we very rarely have to deal with this, every member of every committee should go out of their way to try and preserve the contribution that we receive from Lewis in Bloom. I I must say that as a private citizen, I'm very disappointed by the way this organization is being treated in general. I see only positive things coming from this organization, and I would encourage you to try to find a way to help them accomplish their mission, which is so essential in maintaining the beauty and the attractiveness of our city. A question was raised regarding the meetings of the Ethics Commission. I would hope that after the meeting, one of the member of the commission here is going to find expeditiously when this commission meet, and if I remember correctly, it meets on demand. So to make every effort possible to stop delaying these projects, get the Ethics Commission on board if it's needed, and get this matter resolved, because it's extremely upsetting when you're a member of public to witness the circus that I have witnessed a few minutes ago. Okay, so this concludes my remarks on this particular items. What I wanted to talk about was the 4th Street Preserve. 2 letters to the editors published recently in the Cape Gazette outlined very different visions for the 4th Street Preserve. A reader advocated for keeping the preserve free of human encroachment after restoration of the land and elimination of invasive vegetation. From anecdotal evidence, this minimalist vision is shared by other residents. Another reader, referring to privileged information, replied that a conservation easement would require public access. And here I deviate from my prepared remark to say that Mr. Robinson a few minutes ago provided information on the fact that indeed there is a conservation easement being negotiated, and therefore the news sort of is now officially announced. Should residents be given an opportunity to express their preference regarding the future of the property to be conveyed to the city before all major decisions with environmental impact have been set in concrete in a conservation easement negotiated outside of public view? From bits and pieces of information gleaned here and there, it appears that the conservation easement, and now this is not bits and pieces of information since you confirmed it, the conservation easement will be finalized and the property conveyed to the city sometimes in September. Is there a reason why no public workshop was organized by the city and maybe also by the Delaware Forest Service to hear opinions before final negotiations constrain the city's future environmental strategy for the Midtown Preserve? Is it still time for a public consultation of residents before all is said and done? This was the questions that I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? I appreciate everyone's thoughtful responses. And the next item on our agenda is the adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And do I have a second? And all in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourns. Our next meeting is, I believe, August 18th.